Begin Within Ministries proudly presents Sofa Sundays with your hosts, Michelle Ezugwu and Reverend Jeannie Sovereigns. Sundays at 11:11 a.m. Arizona time. And rebroadcast on Mondays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Come join us on the sofa every Sunday. Sofa Sundays with Michelle and Jeannie. Learn more at www.beginwithinministries.com. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.
Well, hello everyone out there and in the room. So glad to see everybody. Good morning. I know it's just me by myself, which is fine. Sometimes that happens. I reached out to a few people, but I was a little slow getting. Jeannie always gives me enough warning, so it's not always. It's not a last minute thing, but I can't always find somebody. And then sometimes I just think, you know what, maybe Spirit just wants me to do my own thing. And so I did take some notes today. We don't normally do a lot of note taking when we're together because we feed off each other. But I did take a few little notes this morning when I read the reading. So I'll be looking at some of that stuff. But how's everybody doing in here today? Good. Sounds good. I hope you're all doing well out there. Jeannie, we know you're doing well because I've seen all this stuff on Facebook and you're sending me Marco Polos, and there's a beach there. I mean, if there's a beach there, you're going to be well if there's a beach nearby. So we're happy that you're doing that. I don't know if you're speaking right now or what time you start, but we know all that's going to be amazing. What else? Oh, we're in the home of Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington's beautiful practice and space. And she's in the room today, but we give these plugs anyway because we love her. We love what she does. And she's our greatest mentor in our spiritual journey. And so we always want to let you know where we are. We're at 7220 North 16th Street, Building 1A. And that is called Unleash Your Life. It's unleashyourlife.net is the, .us. I knew I was going to get it. I know I was thinking the wrong thing, but it's unleashyourlife.us is the website. If you want to check it out, what she has going on. She always has classes and things happening, especially like her Best Year Yet is running right now. What else is running right now, Michelle? Classes. Just different classes and things. Yes. So there's always something. So you want to check that out and stay aware of that. She is gearing up for the next Best Year Yetter. More yet.
We have to come up with a new title.
I know, right? So that's really exciting. And this beautiful space that we get to host our church in is donated to us by Reverend Dr. Michelle. But I want you to know that you can rent this wonderful space yourself. If you go to the website at unleashyourlife.us, all that information is there. I've used it for other things that I do too. It's a very easy space. It's got a kitchenette. It's got a whole nother area out there. It's the perfect space. So if you're looking for somewhere to do your own thing, this is a great spot for you. So I hope that was that. And I hope I've hit all the things. Do I ever say anything else? It's hard without Jeannie, without one of us going back and forth because we both go, oh, and then I think I said all. Say again?
We'll participate.
Yes, I expect you guys to. Don't worry. I got questions for you today, boys and girls. All right. So that's it, right? That's usually all I ever say. All right. Well, let's get started. Let's open in prayer and then we will move into the reading and we'll see what it has for us today. So let's close our eyes. Oh, let's take a deep breath and come into this moment, into this right here and right now. And we recognize that the infinite presence of Spirit is all there is. In that deep breath, in and out, we recognize that Spirit is in all, through all, and as all. It is perfect, whole, and complete, and it flows through each of us effortlessly. And I'm one with that divine presence. I am one with the divine source. And as it flows in and out in my breath, Spirit flows through me and each person here and beyond the sound of my voice. We're all connected to this infinite source of peace, power, and love. And so from that knowing, from my truth, I declare that we are open to the divine wisdom and guidance that flows to us today. We release anything that's come before, all that busyness, any stress, anything that doesn't align with today, with our purpose. We let it all go, coming into this moment together, and we just breathe. We just rest here and we just breathe. I affirm that everyone here and hearing this, my voice, we're all guided to receive what is ours to receive. And I'm so grateful for this. I am so grateful that this is already done in the mind of God. And all we need to do is rest and breathe and allow. And so we let it go, knowing and trusting that it is perfect. And together we say, and so it is. All right, so let's start with a reading. So our topic today on our cute little cards is I allow myself now to rest for a moment and breathe. So let's do that for a minute. Let's just allow ourselves now to just rest for a moment and breathe. Oh, that just feels so good. Why don't we do that more often? I don't know why we don't do that more often. Okay, well, let's see if we can change that a little bit. Mm-hmm. So this reading is from Reverend Dr. Melissa Higginbotham, Interfaith and Religious Science, Morrisville, North Carolina. So Reverend Dr. Missy titled this Mindfulness and Choice. And she starts it with a quote from Wayne Dyer and his, I guess this is from, says the 26th verse of Tao Te Ching. I hope I said that correctly. It's to be restless is to lose one's self-mastery. I thought that was interesting. All right. It is not easy to stay in the state of mindfulness. When I forget and lose that mindfulness state, I just take a breath, settle myself down inside, align with source in whichever way feels comfortable, and allow myself to be creative. I can be mindful in the moment about what I'm creating in my life and the choices I make. When I follow that pull inside that calls me to a higher cause, I am following my connection to source. I am much more powerful acting being, and my life becomes one of divine right order, where each choice becomes part of divine right action. The result is synchronicity. Choice is an act of power. Each choice I make determines something about my life, my present and my future. Even the choices I make about what roads to take when traveling determine the events I experience and the people I meet. The choices I make can be either conscious or unconscious. When I take the time to breathe for a moment and then sense or feel what choices to make, my choices become conscious choices, and the events I then experience align with divine right order and divine right timing. They'll be exactly what I need at that moment, and in order to continue my journey towards wholeness. I allow myself now to rest for a moment and breathe. I am mindful of all I hear, feel, and sense. Oh, thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Missy. That's perfect for where we're going to go today. So when I was thinking about that topic, I'm thinking we need to do that a lot more often. Even just reading about that, my head's going, I need to do this more often throughout my day, because we're all kind of busy, just a little bit, right? And we get so busy and so running around that for me, I just forget about it, and now I'm just making decisions in the busyness. And we've talked before about where is that busyness? Where is all of that run around? It's not usually in the present moment. It's usually on the outside of that, in the future thinking, in the past thinking, in all of our stories that we're just spinning and spinning. And so the goal is to have the mindfulness to come back to this moment, take a breath, but I love the rest. Take a moment just to rest for a minute and take a breath and come back. And so there have been a lot of times lately where life has been a little over busy for me. I feel sometimes it's this time of year for a lot of people that it starts to rev up now, even though it's still hot here in Arizona. We're melting again this weekend. So it does I feel like that slows things down. But when you're running in the busyness, I've recognized that sometimes that business is coming because I'm not taking any time to stop and breathe and realign and confirm that the movements I'm making or the choices I'm making are aligning with spirit, with that part of myself that knows what steps should be. And so I've done that a lot more this week as I've been coming up into this talk today, because I read that earlier in the week and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that now. Like, that's a good one. So I wrote down that so consciousness practice is a habit we choose to return to again and again. So and it's not just that occasional deep breath, like the one that you just do randomly. Oh, I need a break, so I'm going to take. It's. Well, I think what she was trying to say was that it's a practice, and so it needs to become a part of how you do things. So you're always kind of self-checking. You're always taking that moment to rest and check in, like, how am I feeling? Where am I at? What's my choice? I have choices what I want to do. So you're not just acting subconsciously, unconsciously, really. Does anybody have anything coming up around? Lyric, be ready with the microphone today, because I'm going to be doing this a little bit, seeing if anything comes up. So why don't you come up here so that you're closer, or maybe just raise your hand. She can see you from back there. So does anybody have anything like that's coming up around areas where you might just be mindlessly, you're not being mindful, you're just making moves or just keeping yourself? Yeah, I figured I wasn't the only one doing that.
Well, for me, it's a matter of progression. It's a matter of growth, because I've had a tendency in the past to feel guilty about taking a beat, taking
Yes.
a rest. So allowing myself to recognize that everything that I owe people, everything that I'm responsible for right now is handled. It's okay to take that beat. That's been a huge thing for me, because I've always felt significantly guilty if I'm like not doing anything.
Yes, I think that's one of the major ones. I think a lot of people would say it's the guilt of taking the minute to rest. I even do that even with my husband sometimes. If he's at work and I'm at home, now I work from home a majority of the time. So even if I'm at home and I remember the other day I was in the room and he called me. So those of you that know, he calls me on FaceTime all the time. He's so funny. So I'm in the room and he goes, oh, what are you doing? Resting? I'm like, no, I'm not. Like immediately just jumped. Like, I'm not resting. I was just, he goes, babe, I wouldn't mind if you were resting. Like, you do a lot. It's fine if you take a break. And I thought, what was that little immediate defensive? I'm not resting. Oh my God, no, I was in here just grabbing. So it's like, wow, why couldn't I take a moment to rest? Like,
Where does that come from?
who's my boss? Like, what? So there's nobody telling me I'm not working hard, like nobody doing that but me. So like, it's not even that I'm worried that someone's going to get fired or something bad. It's just in here in our society, especially for women, I think too. But I think my husband feels like he can't stop a lot too, you know? So that's a good one. Anybody else have anything? Times where you feel that way. You do, Sue? Sue, I think, does. And Barbara has. Both.
The older you get, the more willing you are to sit down and take a break, I have found.
That's good. That's good, Sue. So the older you get, you take more breaks. Okay.
One of the things that I have learned is that from here is that I can take that moment. I never had that before. I was worried about every day I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But I've learned through practices from you that I need to take that time.
Yeah.
It's so important. And again, I've learned it. I need to breathe.
I know. Thank you, Sue. Thanks for saying that. So it was a little quiet, but she said she's learned from some practices here that she's okay to take those breaks. And I agree. I feel like it's affected my life too. Even though we're up here, it still affects our lives. And oftentimes we're talking about things that are very much for us to learn or for us to make, priorities. So, and then,
Yeah, I think there's one thing I do well around this and one thing I don't do well at all around this. One thing I do well around this, and it's probably because I now work for myself. I don't have a place I go to work and other people hanging around and expectations and all that. So I'm at home, and I will often in the afternoon just go, man, I am just tired right now, and I'm just gonna go lie on the sofa and maybe read a little book or take a little nap, and it feels so good. I love giving myself that space. So that's what I do well. What I don't do well is that I can get in a mode often, very often, of just plowing through what needs to be done. And there's a lot that needs to be done. And there's always more that needs to be
Oh
done
my gosh.
than there is time to do it.
Yes.
And so, right? And so I don't necessarily stop and pause while I'm plowing through and just take a beat in that moment. So that might be why at 3 PM, I'm like, oh, I'm so exhausted, I have to go. Maybe if I took a few beats during the course of that time, I would refresh myself on more ongoing basis. So
I love that.
yeah, we're always growing, always learning.
Motion now.
This is like the moments of confession. So
Yeah,
sometimes,
right.
we're all just.
She's our priest today.
It is true though. That is really what's. I think all of us are doing that. I think all of us are spinning. So like Sue was saying, it's just a practice. It's an awareness. It's a, I would like to be better at that. So what do I need to do about it? It's not saying, oh yeah, I remember this now. Very cool. And then go back to whatever I'm doing, right? So, and most of you know that, let me make sure because there are some key things that I found. Yeah, you're powered so that we have our own power. We have and we use that. I can't even talk. It's important that we are using our power to choose intentionally what we want to be doing. And when we don't take that moment to breathe and rest and align, it's like blown in. It's like, yeah. And that's why it feels so disconnected, because we are just running around outside of the present moment, which I've always said that those moves are not right. They're not going to be the moves that are in alignment. They're based on either a past that's no longer or a future that's we don't even know is ever going to come. So it's like just in the present moment when you align and you take that breath and you feel what's my next choice, what's my next move, that's all your power is right there in that present moment. So I think creating a practice around getting there as often as possible throughout the day is going to be so helpful. So one of the things that I think a lot of you know about me is that when I am not sitting on the sofa, I am a business coach, business consultant. And so one of the things that I do is I help businesses create strategies and plans around a goal. So if we have a goal of being more mindful, of creating this in our life, is something that I wanted to talk about. What would that look like? So I want you to take a moment and just reflect. Take a moment and reflect just kind of scan through your life, or maybe scan through your day, or scan through the areas of life. So I'll say what they are. Let's see if I can say them all. So areas of life I would say would be your spirituality, your relationships, your the space around you. So the spaces that you live in, the spaces that you work in, the health, your personal development. Got 3 more. Your work, your money. One more. What is it? Work, money, please. Fun. Your fun. So those are the areas of life. So take a moment and even close your eyes if you want. You don't have to, but take a moment and scan through them. Where are you just moving unconsciously? Where are you not making any choices? It's just whatever is happening, you're just letting it all flop around. So let's take a moment and let's scan that for a moment. When you're ready, just open your eyes. When you feel like you've got a couple, open your eyes. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to select one of them. You could do this for more than one, but just for this practice, just think of one of them. one of those areas, and what's one thing that you can do to get more mindfulness in that area of your life? What's something or a goal that you could create that would bring that about for you in that area? Because the way you do one thing is going to affect everything else. So even though it's only for this area, it's going to affect all the others too. It's just the one that's coming forward as the one that says, pick me, I'm the one, I'll do it with you, and then the rest of your life will transform as well. So what's one way that you can bring more mindfulness or experience more mindfulness in that area?
Music.
Music. Okay. I love music.
Brings it back.
Lyric, no. Oh, she's already on it. Good job, Lyric. Thank you, honey.
Well, I have a little advantage to this because I'm with Michelle in a business development program that she is doing right now. I'm doing exactly what she's talking about. So I didn't just come up with this just right now, as a disclaimer. As a disclaimer. But this is in the area of career, and I have two jobs really. I wear two hats. One of them is my own business that Michelle, you so beautifully said things about here today. And then the other one is I'm the executive director of the affiliated New Thought Network, which is a spiritually based organization. And what I've realized working with Michelle is that probably the last year, 80% of my time has been spent on my executive director stuff and not on my own business. That is out of balance. That is wacky out of balance. And yeah, it's not healthy, and it's not financially healthy. It's not supporting my financial flow.
Mm-hmm.
And so my realization is that I have just been jumping from Anton, that's the acronym for the organization, from Anton task to task to task. A person needs this, they need this, oh, I have to do this, I need this, oops, this is coming up. Really without planning, without thought, just, oh, this is the next thing to do. And then all of a sudden a week has gone by and I've done nothing but that.
Reacting, right?
Yeah, reacting. I mean, getting stuff done, doing a fine job of getting stuff done, but yeah, reacting to what is needed in front of me. So my plan, in response to your question, which I've already set up because of the work I'm doing with Michelle, is to very clearly identify what needs to be done around my own business. Think about that. Spend some time to develop my own business, and then lay out a strategy for what that means, and lay out action steps for what that means, and then lay out a timeline. I will say one quick thing, Michelle, you'll find this funny. I have reading a certain book on my action steps that I want to do for my business, and I wrote down on my timeline that I would have that book read by September 30th, which is tomorrow. And
Oh,
what I realized is if I'm going to do something like that, I need to put some touchstones along the way so I get started on it, you know? So I get started so that when the date comes along, I don't go, oh, dang, this is a 250-page book. I don't think I can get it read. And so I got to go back. I started the book, but I'm nowhere finished. So I need to go back and revise that plan. So thank you, Michelle, for that work that you do. The spiritual work is amazing, and then your business work is also amazing.
Thank you. And I love that. That's having that awareness. Now you can see, like, oh, if I want to read a book, you don't just say, oh, I'm going to read this book. My goal is to read the book. There's a lot to reading a book. It sounds simple, but if you just say, I'm just going to read this book, before the end of the month, I'm going to read this book, and then there's no strategy or plans.
Right.
You need to have strategies and plans to support that goal of reading the book by a certain date. So she's already said, so that's with everything you're trying to do. The reason why people set these New Year's resolutions and then here comes February and nothing's been done. Well, they set the goal, but there were no strategies and no plans. It's not rocket science, but when did anybody ever teach that or explain that? So, and then we need to get those plans, those actions on the calendar.
Yep.
On a date that when you look at your day, you go, oh yeah, that's right. I was going to read 15 minutes today at this time. I have the time for it and everything. And then you protect that time like a crazy person because there's boundaries all around that. It's slotted already, right? So We're going to do the same thing for our mindfulness, because in my realization through preparing for today, I realized, Michelle, around even building a business plan isn't, those of us that understand this, isn't really our first step to all of it. Resting, breathing, aligning, feeling what spirit had, like what's our choice? What's my next move here from this present moment? Not just filling out the stuff I give you to, well, I want to create this business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's like, no, we're going to first rest, breathe, and align, get in this present moment. And Michelle has, when I went over to your house to work with you on your project, you have a picture there that we talked about last time on the sofa, and it says presence precedes plans. And this is something that I forget. And then I wonder why I'm running around like a crazy person, because I'm doing it all by myself. Or I'm not in the present moment. I'm running around and all this. No, if I were to just sit and align, the shortest way between 2 points is what? A straight line. A straight line, not circle, 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 spin, run around. Let me go over here. Let's see if that works. Let's see this. No, I really believe those people, those business people that are so successful that they'll say, oh, they just make decisions like that. They just move like that and they make this, like, why? Because they are connected. They may not know that's what they're doing, but they are connected. They know the move and they make it. And then they course correct as they go. I mean, I really feel like the more that we can spend that time aligning and being connected, it will affect everything that you're doing, and you will move so much more quickly, because that's where your power is. You're not just going to flop around I'm guilty of it too. So this is a great reminder for me as I'm working on a million things myself, and I understand. So we have the goal. You have a goal, right? You have a mindfulness goal around one part of your life. Do you need, okay. Yeah, right.
I had it.
Okay. You're like, no, I already. So what I want you to now think of is some strategies. So what are some things I can do now? If this is my goal, I want this to be, maybe you have a daily goal. Every single day I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to sit and do X, Y, Z. Well, there's strategies that go along with that. How am I going to make that happen then? So for example, I wrote down some strategy ideas. You might be able to set a reminder on your phone. You might be able to, I know Michelle, I was thinking about this with you, the go home and having a little thing that would say go home on the pulpit. Go home, checking. There's tons of mindfulness apps that will just ding you so that you can check, am I being mindful? Am I present right now? Am I in this moment, or am I somewhere else? So what are some strategies you could put in place?
Well, that fits in perfectly with what I was going to say before.
Love it.
While we were eyes closed and thinking about that, one of the things that came up for me was follow through on different tasks. For example, I got some really good advice at your last Lunch and Learn that I made note and I followed through,
Nice.
but it left the ball in someone else's court. And until this moment, I completely forgot about that. And so as a manager in the business world, if an employee said to me, well, I left a message for them, and left, so it's in their court, and they didn't follow through, they'd be getting coaching from the standpoint of, well, but then you have no control over it if you're leaving it over there. And the fact that I didn't even remember that I had put it out there and nothing had come back yet, because I want to complete that task. And that means that I need to pay attention and not always be thinking that just because I took the first step, which was writing it on my calendar and contacting my financial person, that I need to say, hey, you know what? Nobody got back with me.
Right, exactly. And so you can say to yourself, like, a strategy would be a following up. Well, what are my action plans for that? Maybe I'm trying to think of what the rule is for follow-up. Is it, you meet somebody, you connect within 24 hours. So like I meet you, I get your card, I get your information. I might send an email within 24 hours. Then there's like a seven days, and there's like a whole plan, but you can make your own plan. Like I'm going to email so-and-so. If I don't hear from them within 40 hours, I'm going to
Mhm.
respond again. So I'm going to put that then on my calendar.
Yeah. That's what I need.
Right? So because you can only, there's your brain, you can only have, your brain wants to be present. It doesn't want to be holding all this stuff in here for you. It wants to be in this moment. It wants to be experiencing what's happening right now. So when you have all this thought, like, oh yeah, I'll call them tomorrow. Don't do that. Go put it on your calendar and let it be gone. Right? So that's, I think, some of the things that we don't do is we don't use our phones like they should. We're on there on Instagram, looking around, on Facebook, whatever, but there's a calendar there, and just stick it on the calendar. Okay, so I emailed them. I'm gonna put on my calendar in 2 days to follow up on that email. And now I don't have to think about it for 2 days. I don't have to worry about it. My brain's like, thank you. Oh my God, thank you so much. So that's what I would say is you have the goal. You need to look at the goal and create some strategies. Anybody have any other strategies around the goal that they came up with?
I programmed her Google yesterday to remind her on her meds.
See, that's good. Yeah. I mean, it's those kinds of things, especially if you do have something where you're like, dang it, again, I forgot that, or again, I'm not. Don't leave it up here. Our brains are, my brain always feels like it's, like I want my brain to be the one that just relax. It's okay, we're good. We're in the moment. Wouldn't that feel great? So that's something to do. And then you have to take it a step further and make the actions. And those actions have to be time bound, which means they get put on the calendar. And you'll be so much more effective. So just focus on the one area of your life, whatever that one thing was that came up for you. Just do that one thing. So I'm not asking you to take the whole life and start messing around, because that's going to be overwhelming. Just do one piece, because that's going to you're going to start trickling down into this area and this area once it starts working. And it's like a practice, like Sue was saying, it's a practice. These are all practices every day. You may have to remind yourself, you may have to have a sticky note. Oh yeah, remember, presence precedes plans. It's hard to say that, but I need to remember that. So what, did I do anything about that other than remember to say it every once in a while? No, I didn't. So in my mind, I need to write down, I need to go post the presence precedes plans. I want to post that in my bathroom. So I see that before you start making all your decisions and start running around, let's get in presence right now. So I love that. I love that. Did that come from somebody or did you make that up? So good. AFB, yeah. All right, so you have your actions. Here are some other ones. I take 5 minutes each morning to breathe before I start my day. Or I take 5 minutes before I go and I talk to so-and-so. I'm going to take 5 minutes to rest and breathe before I go and engage with whomever, if it was a relationship one that you had. Or I pause before I respond when I feel myself getting stressed. So stress is any emotion that doesn't feel good should be a great trigger for, I need to rest, breathe, and align. That's a really great, if you start to think that way, anytime I'm not feeling good, I'm not in the present moment, I need to align, especially before I go back and interact with somebody. So that is a huge, huge one right there. Let's see. So yeah, I already talked about stepping into your superpower. I mean, that's a big one. Yeah. So does anybody else have anything else coming up for them around this topic, around being mindful, staying mindful, using the steps of setting those goals, looking for strategies, and then action steps around those strategies?
It works.
It does.
It works when you work it.
It works when you work it. It works when we do it. I know.
I guess I kind of have a question.
Lyra, can you just give her the mic so we can hear it?
The question is kind of about, you were saying how, you meet someone, you get a business card or something,
Yeah.
you touch within 24 hours, follow up, that kind of thing. I guess how do you know when to stop trying to carry a relationship? How do you know, I've recently realized that there's a lot of them that I've done the reach out, and that there's no reciprocity. It hasn't been coming back at me. So once I realized that, I started kind of just letting them go. Like, okay, you don't come back.
Is this a
Bye.
business or a relationship?
But it's both.
Both. Okay. So here's my secret trick. And if they don't respond to this, then that's it. But here's my secret. Well, first of all, relationships are reciprocal. So if there isn't reciprocity, then it's not a relationship anyway.
Yeah.
But if you have just met somebody or you're trying to get something going, right?
Mhm.
There's a really cool little trick where you can say in an email, so you would type in, hi, so-and-so. Next line, you would say, I have emailed you twice and left you 2 voicemails, but I haven't heard back, period. I haven't heard back, and then there's the 3 dots. The next line is, where should we go from here, ? And send it. That usually provokes them to respond
Okay.
quickly. Usually it provokes them. There's something in the formula. I didn't make it up. There's something in the formula. I don't know if it's the dots or the whatever it is, but it triggers them, and oftentimes they respond like that. Somebody that wasn't responsive suddenly responds to you.
Sorry I didn't get back to you, but.
Right. And now you can at least engage and move that forward. If they don't respond, then I would end that there. But people are busy.
Yeah.
People are so busy. So sometimes I see things that come through, but as soon as I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. And then 800 other emails come in, and I get interrupted. I have 3 kids, one at a time will come in, interrupt me one at a time. And then it's gone. It's totally left my mindset. And thank God for the people that will go, hey, did you happen to see the email I sent? I'm like, oh, yeah, I did. I'm like, go back and get that for you. So sorry, So it's sometimes I'll even leave things. I have this rule about my text messages that I cannot. That if I didn't respond, I'll leave them unread because I can't. And then every day I go through and I look for any error in that I didn't respond because I'm so paranoid about it because it happens when you're just so busy. So sometimes it's just that, especially if it's a new prospect for business. Sometimes they're bombarded. They're getting emails from everybody over and over again. Another way, if it's a brand new prospect, another way if you're trying to, because maybe they're not even opening your email, is in the subject line, you can put your name and your phone number. And that's going to look very different from anybody else sending anything. They're going to be like, who's that? Is it something I'm supposed to know? So that works too, because they'll be like, and then on the inside you have your message. So you're trying to cut through. It's like, I don't open a majority of my emails. I don't open anything that looks like anything. So it could be somebody I know sometimes, unless they text me and say, hey, I sent you this email. I'll go, really? And I'll go back and look. But if it looks salesy, if it looks something else, I just don't have time to check every single one that it's something important or not. So I hope that give you some ideas. All right. So the 3 dots though, I'm telling you oh my gosh, that's like a game changer right there. Highly recommend that one. You're welcome. Lyric, you can grab that one. Anything else coming up from anybody? Lyric, do you have anything coming up for you?
No.
Well, it is, she had a birthday last Wednesday with her twin brother. And so now that we're getting to see you, we said something to True last time. So we'll say to you, happy birthday. You are a wonderful tech. We appreciate all that you do here and all the work that you do supporting the ministry and making sure that everything is running smoothly. You're doing a great job.
Famous model.
And a world famous model and our artist extraordinaire. Yeah. She's the one that created our backdrop. Unbeknownst to her, she just created this in about a 2-hour time frame. She has these big canvases, and one day she says, I know what I want to do with that canvas. She created that. I said, oh my gosh, can I have that? I think Jeannie will love that. Can I have that for the church? And she goes, oh, okay, I guess so. And so now we stopped dragging it here. We took a picture of it because we were bringing it here every week and it was getting tattered. So we just took a picture of it and there it is. I think we'll make it into a poster eventually, but that's Lyric Davis there for you. She's brilliant artist.
Well, it's interesting because, it's always, everything's full circle. Because I realize when we're talking about follow through and, making sure that whatever the task is, whatever stage it's in that's being addressed, that there's some guilt in there too. There's some like, oh man, I screwed that up.
Yes.
You know, I should have gotten that done. And I guess that's for me, that's the thing that I've worked so hard on releasing, is just saying, you do what you can, you work hard,
Mhm.
you're great to the people in your life, and sometimes it's like something doesn't get done, and it's okay.
Yeah.
If it were critical and impacting life somehow, you make it happen.
Right. I agree with that 100%. We love to guilt ourselves so much, and we can only do so much. You know, so sometimes things are going to fall through the cracks. Sometimes stuff isn't going to get done. Sometimes people are going to be upset with us too. I mean, there's only so much we can do around
Yeah, about that part.
and as long as we're in our right place, I mean, all we can do is own it and apologize and move forward. You know, it's not, you know, I mean, I'm not running around trying to make anybody unhappy or trying to not follow through or not get something accomplished, but it is overwhelming at times. There's a lot going on. But the mindfulness practices will help with that a lot. It will really help with that. And you'll also be able to see what's really mine to do and what isn't. Sometimes we're just, because we're not conscious and we're not in alignment, we're just taking on everything. We're letting everything come in. Especially if you're in a mode of, like I'm in the mode of building business. So sometimes for me, if I'm not being conscious, I might allow too many opportunities to come in. And now the one I'm supposed to be focusing on is not getting all it needs. So none of them get moving, you know, or I'm so busy with all the minutia of stuff that I never do the thing that's actually going to create the change or create the income or the thing I really needed to do, because I'm not conscious. I don't have my plans right. I'm not in the present moment when I'm making those decisions. So I feel like that's going to be a big game changer, which is why I think it needs to be something that's just done before you do anything else. Whether it's just in this one little part of life, creating an entire business plan, I really feel like it's let's align, let's rest, breathe and align before we just make any moves. So that's what I have for you guys today. Is there anything else? We feel anything else coming up? And I thought this is a perfect week for it, because when I'm working with business people, I really want them to have these plans done in October for the next year. I want it all done, because November and December, we know how those just fly by. It's so busy, so much going on. But if you have your plans set for the coming year, you know what you want to accomplish in the areas of your life or in your business, then you're ready to go. You're ready to make those moves and stay in alignment. So, all right, fantastic, good. Okay, well then let's just, if everybody's complete, there's no other comments, going once, going twice. So let's anchor this in prayer. So go ahead and close your eyes. So as we close this time together, I recognize once again that there is only one source, and it's the heartbeat. It's the breath. It's life. It's always there, always available, always guiding us, always present. And I'm one with this source. I affirm this for myself. I affirm this for everyone in this room, everyone beyond the sound of my voice. We are all perfect, unique expressions of the one. And from that place of my knowing, from knowing my truth, from knowing our truth, I speak my word into the law, knowing that as I do, I set the law of God in motion for the highest and best of this time together for each of us. Knowing that as we take the ideas, the sharings, the wisdom, the love from our discussion today, that we allow it to take hold, that we allow it to become, we allow it to be our practice, that we allow ourselves to rest, to breathe, to to align. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for the time together. I'm grateful for everyone present. I'm grateful for everyone who will receive this message. I'm grateful for all that results from this mindfulness awareness in our lives, knowing that it creates a life we love. And so I let it go, know and trust it's already done. And together we say, and so it is. All right. Well,
How can we support you?
How can we support you? What do we do?
why, thank you for asking that. Well, you can support, if you'd like to support this ministry, if today was meaningful to you, if you've enjoyed our past conversations around the different topics that we bring up every week, you can support us by liking and sharing and subscribing to this YouTube channel. You can support us by coming in person and seeing us in person and inviting others, sharing with others, bringing visitors here. We love to get the hugs in the morning. We like to see all of you in person. We are building a community for all of us. And so if you also would like to support us with your treasure, then you can go online to beginwithinministries.com. On that homepage at the bottom, there's a place where you can give a one-time donation. You can also become a Spiritual Church Club partner by giving a monthly donation of either $45 for an individual or $75 for a couple or family. And when you do that, you become a Spiritual Church Club partner. You get things like our fun mugs, and we're getting ready to redo the logos. So we're going to all get new mugs, and coffee, tea, cocoa, everything tastes better out of these mugs, you guys. I'm serious. We also have our Sofa Sundays charm, which I forgot to wear today, but we have our Sofa Sundays charm. We have classes. Jeannie's got her humor, hummus, hope and hummus coming up in Hugs and Hummus coming up in November. So, is it November, October? November. So we're very excited about that. And you need to be present for that, because I don't know how else you get the hummus. So, or the hugs. So I'm thinking you all need to be here. But that's a free thing for our partners and everybody else. I don't know what the fee is for people who aren't partners, but just be with us for that. And we have our journals coming. We have all kinds of things that we have planned coming up. And so we would love that support. We'd love for you to be part of this community that we're building. So that's it for me, I think. Lyric, if you want to come and get ready to close this up. Have I said all the things?
I said all the things.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. Jeannie, we miss you. We'll see you next time on the sofa. See y'all later. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Tune in again next week at 11:11 a.m. Pacific Time, or Monday evening at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.